tuning in with Ray's podcast. Hit me, my boy Ray. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Hey, yo. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We back at it again. Second edition of Crosstalk. You know, getting ready for this Cowboy season. Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm Ray. Ray from Ray's podcast. You know, we got this Crosstalk we started a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. This is where we're going to bring different content creators, different people in the sports world. We're going to talk all things Cowboys, sports related on this show. Man, thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you're rocking with us.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to introduce themselves again. And we also got a special guest. He's on Crosstalk for the first time today. We'll introduce to him momentarily. Again, thank y'all for rocking with us one more time. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow all the channels of all the people on this platform. We would greatly appreciate that, all right? Mm-hmm. Real quick, I always want to give a special message to start off the show. A couple of messages I want to give off, okay? First off, you know, it's a time of the year, you know, where it's the elections and all that stuff's going on. Just because someone has a different opinion than you doesn't mean you don't have to love them. We can all disagree, but we can all still agree to love each other, no matter if we have different opinions, all right? So remember that when you're talking about all that stuff on the internet or wherever you're talking about that. Remember, always be kind, always. Real quick, we want to send out our condolences to Dwayne Thomas, former Cowboys player, passed away last week. So we want to send our condolences to him and his family right now, okay? Mm-hmm. So when we start these shows, I like to start off with positive words, okay? So I have one version I do on Ray's podcast, but I want to do another one here just for Crosstalk. Just such a little quick and simple, all right?
Right.
Just know you're beautiful. I'm proud of you. We're all proud of you. Your feelings matter, and you will succeed. Just remember those words, all right?
That was nice, man.
Tough situations come, you know, that's all that matters, what you think about yourself. Your self-thought and self-worth matters more than anything, all right?
Right.
Cool. All right, let's get into it. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Absolutely. Ready as we're going.
Okay. Let's start it off. I'm going to be a gentleman this time. I wasn't a gentleman last episode. I apologize about that, all right? She's back again.
Yeah.
Everyone shout out the homegirl Jazz Monet from the BLS podcast. What's up, Jazz? How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm live. We're blessed.
Yeah.
We like that.
Ready for the season, all right?
Same.
Who's returning again? Who we got back in here?
Yeah.
Well, I think you already heard that voice already.
And remember.
Yeah. We got my player partner, Law Nation, in the building. What up, big dog?
No doubt, man. Appreciate you, everybody, man. Check out Law Nation Sports. You'll see my face, name, or logo there. Let's get it.
You want to introduce a special guest we got?
All right.
For the first time on Crosstalk, right?
For the first time. Come on with it. I got my guy, Ben, who is phenomenal, man, in his space that he absolutely occupy in and work in and facilitate in. But I'm going to let Ben tell you guys what he got going on and what we got going on together collectively. So go ahead, Ben.
That part.
Let's give a shout out to Ben real quick. What's up?
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Hey, this is cool. This is my first time doing anything like this. I can tell you that. So you know, I appreciate you guys having me out.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My name's Ben Larimore. So I'm just more of a behind the scenes football guy. Do some work over there, Pro Football Focus, PFF, and also with the Cowboys Wire as an NFL draft analyst for USA Today's Sports Media Group. In the off season or draft season, right? So, anyways, but yeah, we're here. We're gonna chop it up, talk a little Cowboys football, which I'm looking forward to. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we do have one thing going on, something that Law has actually been kind enough to participate in. So we do have a charity raffle going on for Cowboys Nation. It's got some cool prizes. It benefits a good charity. The charity is an animal rescue from back in my hometown in San Angelo, Texas. Place called Cassie's Place, and they do a lot of good things, and they extend their reach far beyond just the animal rescue, from disaster relief to veteran support, and even education for children and such. So, but yeah, so we've got some cool things. It's only $10 for a ticket. We'll get you the links and all that here soon, but prizes include 2 club-level tickets to Bengals at Cowboys in
Good
December.
tickets, too. Good tickets, yeah.
Second level, like 30-yard line, like real good tickets, man. So that's in there. Got a friend of ours, Lacey, from the Cowboys scene on Twitter. She has a Leighton Vander Esch autographed poster. I put up a Micah Parsons plaque that's got a digital auto on it. And then our guy Law, actually, man, he put forth a salute to service helmet, that a full-size replica helmet. That's a pretty damn nice helmet.
Yes, indeed.
Not only that, but then 2 mini helmets as well to sweeten the pot a little bit. So we'll get that, that info out. It's CassiusPlaceRescue.com/donate. $10 gets you in for one. The more you spend, the more tickets you earn by $1. You just put raffle in the notes section, you're good to go. But we'll get you something posted so you can keep tabs on all that. But other than that, man, I'm glad to be here and I'm ready to talk some Cowboys football.
Yes. All right, let's do it. Let's do that. Okay. If you guys, as y'all know, Sunday was the first preseason game.
Yeah.
Cowboys versus Rams. We didn't get the dub, but we don't really care about dubs when it comes to preseason.
Right.
It's all about execution, seeing who's going to be able to make the team, depth-wise, and also those guys that may make the practice squad. They may not just make the roster, but, okay, this is someone that could fit on our practice squad.
Right.
A lot of things we saw in this game. A lot of things you were interested in, players coming back from injuries, how they were going to hold up. Of course, your rookie players in your rookie draft class. And those, like I said, those guys who's going to fill some needs. So let's get into it, all right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about some things here. What were some of the things that stood out? I'm going to start with you, Ben. What were some things that stood out to you in that game?
Well, first of all, Cooper Rush is clearly more ready to be the number 2 quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's not a knock on Trey Lance. He just needs the reps, guys. And this is valuable time for him. And there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. So I really liked what I saw from Richards over there at left guard. I thought he did some good things pulling. Tyler Guyton, obviously, he showed you his upside. On the offense, that'll probably do for now. But on defense, I really liked some of the schematic things that Zimmer had going on. Subtle things like, more over alignment, getting that defensive end shaded out over the tight end, freeing up those linebackers to really make plays. DeMarvion Overshown right there in the first drive, making that tackle in space, completely due to the change in philosophy up front. The back end still 4 picks. Obviously, that's still working itself out. But 4 picks is 4 picks, and we like to see that. So lots of good things, man. I got a lot of faith in with the way the roster's constructed and what they're going to be able to do with it. I think.
No doubt.
So let's start breaking some of that down. Some of the stuff you talked about. All right. One of the first things you were talking about was Trey Lance. We all saw that. Still got to tell people between high school, college, and in the pros, he has not played a lot of football.
I think 17 games to be fair, in college. So that's not a large sample size. It's like the what we call it at the Costco's.
Samples.
The Costco's, yeah. They're all good. You take those Costco samples. Oh, that's really good. When you get to the house, you realize, oh man, they were just samples. Yeah. So he's drafted on potentials, right? And what I'm seeing here from Trey is that we need more time. I'm not trying to put him in a box. I think that Trey have an unbelievable skill set as far as his arm talent. He got a strong arm. He can put the ball and fit it where it need to be. But one of the things that he is lacking on is touch. He don't have that subtle touch on the ball. But not to hijack that segment, though. But go ahead.
No, you said something great there, too. Food analogy. Like a brisket, you got to slow smoke it.
Slow smoke it, yeah.
He's still cooking. He's still cooking. Well, he ain't cooking yet. He's being prepared. They're prepping.
It's still
he ain't cooked yet.
Pause.
Honestly,
Pause is necessary, but it's still tough meat, man. I want my brisket with it.
Pause. I can't deal with y'all. But no, honestly, you say he was drafted on potential, but one could even argue that he wasn't really drafted.
Have you ever been swallowed?
Oh my gosh!
Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and you?
Wait, he
definitely got swallowed up in it.
Trey Lance is somewhat overwhelmed right now, and at least that's what it looks like. But no, okay, so everybody keeps saying that he was drafted on potential, but if you think about it, it was just like, whose potential, right? Because it's like, if we were to take a time machine back in time, was it a secret that he didn't have a lot of snaps under his belt? It was not a secret. the type of quarterback that he is, was that a secret? No. Yet, he ends up on a team where they try him out and then they're like, oh, well, we have to change up too much of the game plan in order to fit you in. And so he ends up underdeveloped. The injuries played a large role, right?
Correct.
But also because of this idea that, okay, well, we have to change up too much of the game plan. Well, you knew that before you got him. So why did you even bring him there in the first place? So for me, there's like two sides to the Trey Lance coin, and either one of them changes the outcome.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, no, he's not ready to be a QB2, much less a QB1, like what a lot of, I'm just going to say delusional Cowboys enthusiasts are trying to claim, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So not only he's very far away from that, but if he were even in another situation that was actually a better fit for him,
right?
Similar to maybe like a Jordan Love, like how he got to sit behind a great quarterback for a really long time before he was put out there. This thing might have played out a lot differently for him, but now he's in a situation where he's in a contract year.
Correct.
He doesn't have enough on film to prove that, he definitely deserves a spot on another team. It's like, and Ben was saying this before we turned all the lights and cameras on, people are going to look at this preseason film, and so far, he's not putting enough on film to prove that he's worth anybody like taking a chance on him. And it's unfortunate because I feel like he didn't ask to be drafted where he was drafted. He didn't ask to go to the team he went to, but that's the hand that he was dealt, and now he's having to pay for it.
He's still young, though.
Which
is his biggest.
If he can find a team to give him time,
Right.
I think it'll go well. Because it's like if you look at him, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
We know he has the arm strength. He has the power to throw the ball. We know he can run. But when it comes to ball accuracy, getting the ball to the right target and also making sure you get it away from defenders simultaneously. So accuracy and ball placement.
Right.
He needs to work on that, but that takes reps. Being able to do more than one read. He needs to work on that, but that takes reps.
Takes time.
Staying comfortable in the pocket. He needs to work on that, but that takes reps.
Exactly.
Everything that he needs to work on, you can legitimately tie to his reps. But like if you just look at his skill and his abilities, it's like, okay, he's got it, right? He's got that raw material. But he needs to be in a place that actually has time. And the resources and somewhere for him to develop.
From a front office standpoint, that's still a project, okay?
Correct.
Now we can go in, okay, we saw what you did. Other teams saw what you did. We go ahead and offer you this little low ball contract right now. Them Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones specials, them Cap Boy special contracts they can offer him right now. They do that when the players are hurt.
Correct.
Or they're not fully developed. Let me go ahead and sign you now to a longer extended period while your value is not at its full potential right now. That's something I'm pretty sure the Cowboys thinking about.
Honestly, NFL fan fiction, Will Grier is with the Eagles right now, and we have Trey Lance. In terms of who's a better fit for who as a backup, Will Grier is a better backup for Dak Prescott, and Trey Lance is a better backup in terms of style for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really know what Kellen Moore is going to do,
Right.
but in terms of what we've seen from Jalen Hurts in the past, it's like, I could see you plugging in Trey Lance to have him do some of that stuff. So maybe we just need to be like, hey, can we just like control Z on some of the stuff that happened in 2023?
Yeah.
We get Grier back and y'all take Lance and
God forbid we make a trade with the Eagles.
Right.
Well, that got us Michael Parsons. That did get us Michael Parsons making a trade with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Hey,
Then I think that got us Tyler Biotish.
To a degree,
Yes, we made a trade with Philly a few years ago in the draft. But also, too, talking about on Trey Lance, the Cowboys made that trade because they thought it would help bring leverage, trying to get Dak re-signed, or if we want to let Dak walk, we have his replacement. Look like that's kind of backfired. That's backfired in two different folds. One from the quarterback position, and we could say the running back position, because essentially that 4th round pick could have got you a decent running back, and I think in this year's draft. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We're playing devil's advocate here.
Well,
we don't know, but the chances of...
I would say, one, the trade itself, if you want to try and improve your quarterback room, I'm never going to knock that, right?
Facts.
But it was a little bit head-scratching.
Yeah.
And I still...
I'm like, was it an improvement?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. Not at this time, right? What was the second part of that? You're talking about the draft. Oh, the draft.
The draft and running backs.
Running backs.
One thing, I have this theory. So, like I said, I do NFL draft work. One thing that's coming up in this next year's draft is a great running
It is.
draft. Like
Yeah.
a great running back draft class.
Who do we have? Like, break that down real quickly if you can.
Well, you can look at Ollie Gordon, the current Doak Walker Award winner, best running back in college football.
Is he Oklahoma State or is he at again?
Oklahoma State.
Yep.
He had an ungodly amount of numbers. I don't know
Wow.
off the top
Yeah.
of my head. Ashton Jainty's another one out of Boston College who's a guy to keep your eye on. Ohio State has 2 of them.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Quinshawn Judkins, who just transferred from Ole Miss. Travion Henderson came back off an injury to play for another year. They're both probably better than anything that was in last year's draft class. Jaden Ott and Amarion Hampton out of UNC. So, anyways, all of those guys, I'd say you could make a claim or a case to stand on that they might be better than anything that was in last year's draft class. So, I think the Cowboys might have known that.
Yeah.
Which might be why they didn't.
Yeah, but here's the only thing. I'm in the mindset of winning now, right? And you try to win for 2025, and then you got to do contracts for any of the quarterbacks that you have here. Right. On top of that, we still got to get CD paid, and next year is going to be rolling around with Michael Parsons. So I'm in the now moment, in the mode of what can we do for 2024. Now, granted, I think that the Cowboys do a wonderful job in drafting and finding guys, but the problem is my number one problem with the Cowboys. Sense of urgency. I think that we can still win 13 games or 12 games, and I sound delusional to a degree. Every year around this time, I sound delusional when I say that, hey, the Cowboys can win us 12 or more games. And granted, we right at 12 every year, and at the first part of the year, he's crazy. But on the back end of the year, the expectations are, hey, we should win the Super Bowl. And that's where our problem been. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah,
With the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, pass the law over here.
Oh, come on with it.
Man, I think
Get off the island. Yes.
most of the fan base agrees with you. I mean, that's just how it works. That's how that ball rolls, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive back into this first preseason game. All right? So you do work with PFF as you stated. Let's go over some of these grades. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Some of these grades are kind of eye popping to me. Okay, and we're going to dive into this.
To
all
be
right.
clear, I did not work this game.
Disclaimer.
All right. So the highest graded Cowboys in Week 1 preseason via PFF. Number 1, Josh Ball with a 90.7. Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Number 2, DeMarvion Overshown. 87.5, and I say he stood out immediately.
That boy good.
He flashed.
Before I go further with this, one thing let me tell you that stood out really the most to me, to a degree, wasn't even his field on the play. Is I was watching the pregame, they had him breaking the huddle. He was firing the guys up. I'm like, that means a lot. If they have him in the middle,
Loves football, man.
Yeah.
hyping everyone up, that means okay, we got a baller, we got a leader on our hands. So that really, to me, that characteristic is what stood out. But
I just love that the passion persisted through the rehab.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So number 3, we have Kelvin Harmon. I loved watching him, man. He had an 86.1 according to PFF. Number 4, Marquise Bell, 85.2.
My dog.
I think that might have been my favorite player of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He had like 7 or 8 tackles. A
He
pick.
just looked
Yeah.
so
He was
good back
everywhere.
He led the team in tackles, by the way. Yeah.
The number 5, Damone Clark with 82.4.
Good improvement from him for what he was doing last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, what if you look at the trends on that list, you see more linebackers.
That's exactly about to say that. That's the point you thought he hit.
Yeah,
We
here
right
we go.
there. We see that. I'm about to say. Dare I say we have a linebacker room again?
Hell yeah.
Dare I say that?
I think that what's happening here, and we're going to touch on the grades or what have you, but what I'm seeing is from a mindset, like Overshown flying down feeling, right? Clark flying down feeling. Linebackers supposed to be slow until you know, but last year I was saying, when would they know? When would they know when to shoot through gaps or fill a hole? Or why the average depth of tackling, which even though I think the world of LVE, he led the team in some tackles last season when he was healthy. And then a few seasons before that, people was talking about his tackle rate. But I was talking about also the depths of those tackles. I need for my linebackers to come down and fill contain and hit, scrape, disengage, and get upfield. And we are seeing more of that from Overshawn, Clark, and all of those other boys. I love it. I love what Paul Gunter is doing, as well as with the Scott McCurleys of teaching these guys on where to fit and feel. So I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of those things where you have to tip your cap to the coaching staff and recognizing, hey, some things needed to change.
Facts.
They just needed to change. So they changed philosophy. They changed their alignments and their scheme up. I mean, shoot, sometimes they're even throwing 3 linebackers out there on the field. Last year, we were lucky to have 1 true linebacker on the field.
Boy.
Oh, yeah.
From a bird's eye view perspective, it almost feels like last year when everybody was talking about on the offense, people being on the same page and how that enabled them to kind of play more synergistically because everybody knew everybody's job. And so they were able to help each other out. It almost feels like that's what we're seeing on the defensive side, but without it being so explicitly stated. But we are seeing them like strategically work together or complement each other or, you know, kind of fix mistakes under the radar.
Right.
Even though nobody did a whole press conference and made a season theme out of it, but we are seeing them, you know, very much on the same page and working together as a unit.
Right.
And that makes a big difference. And plus, when we heard about the hire of Zim, like that was one of the things a lot of people were expecting. We were like, okay, so we're gonna have like an actual linebacker court, right? Not a bunch of converted safeties, right? Yeah, like yes.
And speaking of that, the benefit of even going through the growing pains last year with my guy Marquise Bell being transitioned from a safety to a linebacker, you still got that intensity and you still get coverage and you got somebody that can fit and feel from a safety aspect who can play the deeper thirds or what have you. Go ahead, Ben.
I was just going to say, and he just looks so knowledgeable doing it, natural now. Like, I'm seeing him come down from a quarter safety look where he's going, part of his job in that coverage is going to be to come down and help hit and run support.
Correct.
And I'm seeing if a linebacker on a particular play maybe gets a little bit washed inside, well, he's there to fill that fit, right? And then I saw a play where Overshawn corrected that wash in and got back to his fit. Well, he replaced him. And he just looked, it was spot on, man. He just looked real good doing it.
And another thing, while we're speaking on defense, one of the things that's really stood out to me was hearing Overshawn doing an interview. He was like, the way Mike Zimmer called the game, he called it off a feel and sight, not a play sheet. Okay, I want to run this play. No, he was adjusting to, he was adjusting to what he saw on the field. Like, all right, cool. Let me call my defense now. All right, this is what I want you to run. Boom.
And he really is a brilliant defensive mind, in my opinion. You know, his defenses can get pretty complex, and I know there's a bit of a debate about how much you want to change or how much you want to implement, and this, that, and the third. But that just goes to show you that this man knows it, and if he, you know, if he's going to call, he's going to expect you to execute it. So the balance is going to be, you know, how much do you put on the players? How do you call the right game? So that's what we got to see.
In one of my brief conversations with him, he stated that I'm not going to give you the same M&F and look. You know, I'm keeping PG-13. You know, in a game, so you may think you're seeing the same M&F and thing, but it's not going to be the same. I'm just using his quotes.
One word.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Disguise. I'm going. He'll give you different disguises. So I counted about 6 turnovers, 6 INTs. You know, the one was called back and one was in the hands of Wanye. So, there could have been 6 of them.
Bell dropped another one in the end zone too.
So it's 7. You know, so that's crazy on day one, and because he's throwing out different things, you thinking that you're seeing one thing and it's another. We haven't had that in many a moons.
But wait, there's more.
Whoa,
there wasn't Diggs or Deron Bland on the field. So just imagine.
Well, that's what's interesting because, like, okay, so I know it's only been one game, so we kind of have to, you know, temper our expectations and our evaluation. But, you know, I heard a lot of commentary about how Cowboys fans are used to seeing our defense be a lot more dominant up front, and then people are like, well, you know, Parsons and Law weren't out there, so you know we have to, you know, take that into consideration. And then it's like, well, we didn't have Diggs out there. Like, there were a couple of people in the secondary that weren't out there as well. But, like, I feel like even with what we did see, we have a big reason to be, like, very excited about our secondary.
Not only I think we're going to get a lot of takeaways, a lot of coverage sacks, I think, could happen this year.
They dialed up a lot of, like, pressures, right? Whether it's like a dog from the linebacker where he's reading, and if he stays in, he can come up and try and get a sack and on pass play, things like that. But a lot of zone pressures too, and a lot of rotating safeties, and people are obsessed with the double A mug look.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that term, and we saw a fair amount of that, but we saw a fair amount of pressures coming when it wasn't a mug look too.
Right.
And I think that's just a small sample size of the diversity that Zimmer can bring to this defense.
Right. And the only reservations that we have, I have, is some of the D-tackle stuff. I've seen us getting pushed off the ball.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that my guy number 55 may have selected a wrong hole or what have you. But overall, Willie Harvey Jr., I think he's number 55. I think that he played a solid game.
Right?
Yeah. He played a solid game, but I've seen some things. Whereas, in a live game with my guy Eric Kendricks, maybe alignment and assignment may be a little bit better, and that's what I'm looking for this next game, the adjustments and seeing who really picked up the playbook in the tape to see what they can do better at.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think the coaching staff's going to be right there with you on that front.
100%.
All right, so let's quickly go into those grades we talked about. All right, like we said, Josh Ball, 90.7. From your opinion, what went into that 90.7 grade?
Oh,
we want to know.
He has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it was Law who I hadn't even seen the grades, and he said, "Show me the tape."
Show me the tape.
I said, "Well, I'm glad you asked, Law. Let me go take a look," and I did. I wrote down just a simple.
Hey, yo, what the fuck? Oh, wait a minute.
Tell me you've never done podcasts without telling me. I said, hold on. No, so I went and looked at it, and every play, I jotted down my note from it, and I'm like, a good combo block, got to the second level, threw a dude down on the ground in pass pro, making a block out in space, generating some push.
Okay.
I'm like, wow, from what I went and watched in his reps, there wasn't a whole lot to ding him for. I think maybe one play I saw where it was a screen, wasn't the smoothest set and release in the world. But other than that, I thought, hey, man had a good game. If he has a good game, give him his props, man, because he's been through it. He's been through it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't go on Twitter, man.
Don't go on Twitter. Him and Matt, well, let's go. But I would say
he was on the ground a lot.
Yeah, well, let's go was on the ground. And then TJ Bass didn't really give me what I really was looking for at that right guard spot. So it looks like he's favoring a leg. He was lunging. He was not finishing off on some of the plays. But go back to Josh Ball, I would say I talked to my boys, and we got this little text line that we got going on, and I think that I really take heed to what Vach Lombardi was saying. He was talking about the fact that he was good on run blocks.
Oh, yeah.
Pass pro, you still going to have to worry about that, but every offensive lineman known to man loves run blocking because they can really get to it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, maybe that's where his comfort spot at, but I'm still having my reservations on Josh Ball.
And this Cowboys offensive line, anytime you can be strong at the point of attack in the run game, I mean, that's a positive over some of the things we've seen recently. But I'll tell you what, Vach, if he's saying something, just listen to him, man. Listen to him.
All right, so we Overshawn, we got 87.5. We've kind of already touched on him. There's a lot of good things from him. The burst coming off the injury, I think, looked really good. Like the first play of the game, the first or second play of the game, we just
scrape, getting upfield,
What do you think about Overshawn?
What do I think about him?
Yeah. What was his influence, impact and whatnot in your opinion?
I mean, honestly, so I tend to be like just very, holistic in my evaluation of players. So when I was looking at Overshown, what I was looking for was how he was going to bounce back, after the injury and being away for so long. And honestly, I'm just excited to see the intensity and aggression from him. And like, if we didn't hear anything about him last year, would we have even known what he went through in terms of the injury and rehab and the length of time that he was away? I feel like we wouldn't. Yeah. And so I feel like I know it's kind of like a more general thing, but for me, that's the number one thing, because I think, just that mindset and that approach to the game is so important that it was just exciting to see him basically not missing a step and back like he never left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She nailed it.
Yep.
Shoot.
All right, number 3, guy I really liked, Kelvin Harmon. You know, he was a receiver from the UFL.
Yeah.
I forgot what team he was, but yeah. He had,
NC State product.
yeah. 86.1. And I was looking towards the end of the game. You know, Trey Lance wasn't having the best game, but towards the back half of that game, play after play.
He was a guy that the Cowboys brought in the day my guy Ryan Flanoy kind of banged up his knee. And, of course, Corey Crooms got injured, and he's off the team now. But when I was like, hey, who's 84? He attacks the ball pretty well. Harmon's he's been working with third team, so it wasn't like element of surprise when Trey got his toys out there. That Trey, on the last end of the series, he looked a little bit more comfortable throwing to 84 and number 6. I forgot his name. His last name is Brunette. But I think that he got a great knack for finding the ball in space. He got great short area quickness. He can find the soft spots in the zone. And if you look back at the catches, he made his quarterback look good because those balls were high behind him. But it's all about relationship, and I think that they have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 4, we had Marquise Bell. We already talked about him at 85.2.
Bell. HBCU
I
too.
can talk about him all day.
Yeah.
Then let's go to number 5, Damone Clark. Damone Clark had 82.4.
Yeah.
But I don't know if y'all have heard the news that they said Vanderich linked him up with Sean Lee. So Sean Lee has been helping Damone Clark kind of hit that next development. And they're saying in training camp he's just been there.
Yeah. When I was out there, Damone Clark seeked me out personally, and he wanted to deliver this message to all of Cowboy Nation that he will play better than what he played at last season. And he said he would come on the podcast. So we gonna hold your feet to the fire, Damone. So come on, I want you to sit in one of these chairs and talk about the things that that you said that you're gonna do better at. I got a tomahawk steak on the line because me and my guy Okoye, we got this deal that, you know, he's stating that Damone Clark won't be Damone Clark, he will be the same guy that he was last season. I'm telling you guys right now, I told Damone Clark, we got this steak on the line. And we need for you to play good because I love some tomahawk steak, and I can't wait to have that because it's going to be a thing, whereas he's going to improve in this particular system because I think that Damone Clark, he would not be the end-all, be-all because we're going to have Eric Kendricks and we're going to have Overshaw. Do you think that's going to be the starting lineup?
It's kind of funny you say steak, man, because what makes a good steak? A little salt and pepper, right? When you say maybe a little age, maybe get a little salt and pepper in the beard. Yeah. My point is a little bit older, a little bit wiser.
Seasoned, yeah.
You know, a little bit more mentally prepared. That's gonna help Damone Clark a lot. And if he's doing stuff with Sean Lee, that's great.
Yeah.
Who's your 3 linebackers for the season?
Well,
Overshawn, Kendricks, and Clark? Or who you got?
it depends.
Okay.
We haven't seen Micah Parsons on the field yet in preseason.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What alignment is he going to be lined up? Is he going to be
They had him all over the
edge?
place.
Is he going to be lined up in a linebacker position? So we don't really quite know.
Hell, he's the running back.
X-factor.
He's the running back for right now.
I'd let him do it too.
4-3 running back. Come on, go ahead.
But it depends on what the set is when we go out there. First game,
That's
Correct.
very true.
first play, where is he aligned? That's going to tell him. Me, I think it's going to be, it'll be him, Kendricks, Overshawn.
Yeah.
That's going to be your opening linebacker trio.
Yeah.
They still have Overshawn on the pitch count, by the way.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that out there.
I think that will be your opening linebacker core first play of the game. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I'll probably just still say he's an edge, but they're just gonna move him all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, they have in camp, you know. So as far as the linebackers, one might get rotated out when they, change up the look and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, I think obviously Kendricks is gonna be your Mike.
Facts.
He's gonna quarterback that defense, and then I probably put it on Clark and Overshawn as the next 2 with our rookie
Leofau.
Yeah, probably over there on the strong side, rotating in and whatnot. So,
Speaking of Leofau, they said he was giving Tyler Smith some fits last week in training camp.
man, I tell you what, when he come up and fill that hole, like on Lipke, I think, and things like that, some clips that I saw from training camp, that boy will hit.
He
That boy
hits.
will hit.
Yeah. He can come down and field, and all of our guys got that mindset now.
Well, let's shift gears real quick. What do you think that his biggest development need is? Marisol, Leofau. Sorry, Leofau. What do you think the thing he needs to work on the most to really contribute to this team this year?
The craziest thing of it is that he can cover, he can fit. I think that the knowledge base is the thing that he needs to work on.
I was going to say that his instincts, like I think him coming from the college to the pro level, like I think he's just at a point where he still needs to get used to the speed of things and to the level of talent that he's facing on a much more consistent basis than he did at the college level.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, to me, it just seems like, kind of like how we said Trey Lance needs more experience. I think as he gets more comfortable, we're going to see him be more confident. And I think once he gets that level of confidence and figures out where he fits in, what his strengths are with this defense, I think we're going to see him just like show up in bigger ways more often. But like, as far as like physical traits, abilities, skills, I think he's got it. I think he just sometimes he doesn't look confident is all.
Yeah, bam. You slam dunked it. And before you go, I just want to say that he will be forever linked to the linebacker to the running backs out of this draft.
Yeah.
Because everybody was kind of like pegging that spot.
That's true.
As to where you would take, is this Breland Allen, or is this a running back that you take from Notre Dame, Ostrich, or whatever his name is, Estimate. So he will forever be linked to the running backs. Hopefully,
yes and no.
Hopefully we'll win in that spot.
Yes and no. Here's why.
Break it down.
Just picking off what our guy Ben said, the running back class next year. If they get a stud next year, no one's gonna remember about who we drafted in the third. Yeah.
I know we haven't seen much, but I almost feel like I'm just expecting our running game to be a little bit deprioritized. Like this season. I mean, last year was our first experience with the whole Texas Coast thing, and it feels like as far as adjustments that they're making to the run game with who they're bringing back and what we've seen so far and how they keep bringing up Malik Davis. Like, we like this guy. People are like, you don't want to trade for something? Like, no, Malik Davis. I feel like they're just going to be like, can we get a little bit better at running in between the tackles, and then everything else is going to be pretty much the same. I'm not expecting big changes in the run game, honestly.
I think we're going to see a little bit more power run this year.
Yeah.
Power
Run. I think that, and I think when they call that, I think that's going to help with some of that schematically. Right?
Yeah.
See, I like Snoop Connery. Speaking of power run, I like the way he ran in this game. He ran very violent, and I like that. It reminded me of the time of when we had Tashard Choice and Marion Barber, and that's what I think that the Barber. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
And I was telling him, we had a conversation on the phone. I was like, I think they're trying to have that combination. Remember when they tried to have Felix, Tashard Choice. I think Barber was still on the roster then. They were trying to have all three of those running backs in play. Or was it Barber? There was another running back in rotation at that point. I don't think it was Barber. I think it was gone. But it was three running backs. They wanted to have a rotation of those three. I think
Felix Jones and Barber and Tashard Choice.
I think those were the three they were trying to do. We really don't have the speedy running back on this team. If you want to call it Deuce that, I mean, but.
Rico has a little subtle speed, and he was the only guy that when you look back at tape, of course he had some good bursts in that game. He averaged 4.7 yards per tote, right? And then your next guy was 3.3. Snoop Connor. Shout out to my Mississippi boys. But I would say this though, as far as the running back room, I think that we will have that sledgehammer out of Ezekiel Elliott when we get down inside. I think
pass pro
because we're gonna need him week one against Myles Garrett and all of those boys. But I would say this though, with the running back room, it's the big old question of the unknown.
Yeah.
Because I don't have confidence. Even I like Malik Davis, but he averaged 2.3 yards per rush. That's not enough.
I think each of them that we expect to kind of be in the running for us, on the roster on game day, I think they all kind of do one thing or another a little bit better than the next guy. So I think if they use them correctly, that's going to be the battle, right? But I think you can get what you need to get done in the run game if you do that.
Yeah, running back by committee.
Yeah,
that part.
I still think we're going to add. I think we're going to add another running back at some point between the beginning of the season and someone get cut.
You've been banging on that table since the draft.
I think someone is.
You're about to have
it's going to happen.
1,500 players or so.
Yeah. I think a running back and a defensive tackle is going to be coming to this
A
roster
lot
at
of
some
people
point.
are crossing their fingers for Izzy Abanaconda, I think is how you say it.
Yeah, for the Jets.
Yeah, from out of the Jets. I think he went to Pitt.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. I think so.
Yeah, he went to Pitt. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, I mean, he did. He looked good coming out, going in the draft, and they've got him at like RB4, something.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna break a lot of these positions down. We'll do our 53-man prediction show. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that show. All right,
Oh,
that's gonna be a good
that
show.
gives
Right?
me anxiety.
All right. So real quick, I'm gonna tell you some of my players that I liked and the players I thought had a great game, and also players I thought, they had a so-so game. All right, and we're just gonna run through this real fast because time is money. All right. Players, of course, I thought did great over Sean. Obviously, Marquise Bell, we already talked about, which he is in a contract year. Restricted
Right.
free agent after this year, so it's a contract year. So he's trying to give me my money, as they say on the internet. He's trying to get his money. Cropper, receiver.
Yeah.
I think he did pretty good.
I'll say one thing about him real quick. That play down there by the goal line where he kind of drifted out of bounds instead of lowering his shoulder and getting upfield north and south, that's situational awareness right there, man. That's got to be a little better.
Yeah.
So, but he's had a great camp,
Yeah.
and he showed some
Yeah.
flashes for sure in that game.
Oh yeah.
My guy, I'm rooting for Hunter Lipke. I think him kind of playing at H-back
Yeah.
Right.
kind of position. I think that's going to be great for this team, having that in a positional flex where he can play fullback, tight end,
Yeah.
wherever he needs to be.
H-back.
All right?
Good H-back.
And after he fumbled that ball last season, everyone was kind of down on him.
Yeah.
We want to see our guy. I want to give him more touches.
Yeah.
Yeah, let him cook.
Let him cook. Harmon, as we talked about earlier, and Mozzie.
Yeah.
Everyone was giving Mozzie crap earlier, like, oh, he's gassed early in the game, whoop de whoop. But Mozzie, I think he played well.
Yeah.
you're seeing the improvement.
Yeah.
You can
When
see-
he played well, he played really well. But I'm not really mad at anybody who wants to see a little bit more consistency
Yeah,
from Mozzie.
for sure.
Because there were definitely some plays that it felt like he took plays off. And I hesitate to use that word because that speaks to a player's mindset, and I don't want to make it sound like he's like lazy. But there was a difference. There was a disparity from one play to the next that I'm not really mad at anybody for if they notice that and they're like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that, and I need to see him do better.
Let me credit this to my guy, Boss Cowboy Sports. He brought this up to my attention on the fact that you got a guy that went from 340 to 290-ish, right?
Yeah.
And then expected to get back up to 340 or 320 at least, right? And he's going through a shoulder situation.
That part.
So you're going to get fatigue in a sense because you're moving all of those weights around, and he's going to have to play himself into that fatigue factor or out of that fatigue factor. But there was a tackle for loss that he was credited for down in the goal line there, and he shot his hands inside. He was able to burst and get the separation and make the tackle over there on the flat. So I would give him kudos and credence for that particular play because we didn't see that last season.
Yeah.
At all.
But I mean, you bring up some good points, and that's why I hesitate to use phrases like he took plays off, because
Correct.
it might not be that he took a play off. It could be that there's something that he's still dealing with related to that shoulder, or losing 50 pounds.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't do that without losing some muscle.
Right.
So I don't know what he's been dealing with in terms of like biomechanics and things of that nature, and what might not feel good whenever he tries to apply a certain amount of force. Because it's like, even whenever we people talk about getting your hands inside as though it's just so simple, like take your elbows from here and put them here. Like
right. Anyone
conceptually it's simple,
Yeah.
but honestly it requires a completely different way of using your body. Like there are muscles in your torso, especially near and around your lats, that you don't use as much when you're out here that you have to use when you're here. Or even just thinking about the shoulder complex and all the small muscles that control shoulder stability. Like we don't know what's stopping him from putting his hands inside. It might not be as simple as him just being lazy or being sloppy. There really could be something going on there, and we don't know. But just generally speaking, I would like to see some more consistency, whatever that would take.
Sure.
Whatever
I
it
think
takes.
I think everyone agree with that part.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, before you go into that, he looked better than that Huggins kid that we got. You know,
Facts.
he was getting thrown out of the club. And in my film assessment, I was just looking at the 8 and the dreads that was hanging out of the back, and I was thinking that it was Mozzie. And then I looked again, people in the comment box like, nah, Law, that was the Huggins kid, and he was getting thrown out the club literally on majority of the plays. But go ahead.
All right. Couple guys, I think, hopefully they have a better game too. Ryan Flanoy, I feel like he struggled a little bit.
And he's got to hit the ground running. He's 24 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Racy McMath, man, he had those couple of drops.
That
and
math ain't mathing.
The math was not mathing in that game, all right?
That one hurts me too, because he's so athletic, 6'3", 200, runs a 4.3.
For real?
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm just like, dude, you gotta catch those.
I think McMath's reputation right now is like a credit score, where it's like he came in with no credit, right?
Right.
And it's like when you have no credit, the last thing that you want is bad credit. And I think that's what happened. It's like a lot of people didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And now the first thing that they're seeing is these 2 drops. So he's got to like pay off some things early, in order to get a lot of credibility back from the fan base.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Eric Scott Jr., I think he got beat up a little bit, but he did have that pick.
Maybe
kind of redeemed himself a little bit.
He needed that pick.
He needed that pick
that
bad.
Yeah,
Because
they threw that straight at his head.
Right. Don't care. You just collect that money off the church's ground. Just collect it and cash it in. Thank you, because he needed that.
And of course, we already talked about Trey Lance, so we're not going to spend too much more detail in that. But one thing I did notice, man, he had issues connecting out of the flat. There was a lot of plays he was trying to connect, I think, with Davis.
Yeah.
Just kept missing him out of the flat, which I feel like that should have been an easy connect.
And let me throw this in. I said this, and I'm not beating him up, but his availability is a liability right now. And I'm talking about Luke Schoonmaker. You got to catch that.
Oh,
yeah.
And Stephen Jones looked really good in practice out there in Oxnard. And I'm thinking that those balls belongs to Stephen Jones, juxtaposed to. Yeah, John Stevens. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I'm glad you corrected me.
Yeah,
I was like, wait.
I know one way to say that.
You know why I'm saying that? Because Stephen Jones, his first name is absolutely John Stephen Jones. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
I'd heard that once before, but I wasn't.
And because I used to play around with Stephen Jones, it's calling him John Stephen Jones, and now we get a guy named Stevens on the team, and it kind of throws me off. But those balls should have went to him, and I think that Schoonmaker, he missed plays. He missed days, and now he gets out there in the brightest of the spotlights, and they want to put him in front of other guys who earned their way to the field, and he drops the opportunity.
And that tight end room is looking pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, John Stevens.
Yeah.
He looks slide out there, man. It's almost like you just let him be.
He's a former receiver, right? If I remember, So that's
So is Princeton Fant.
Yeah.
And I mean, I liked what Princeton Fant and
Brevin Spans.
Ford,
Yeah.
president of the Brevin Spanford Fan Club Dallas.
Let's go.
If you didn't know. Anyways, no, they did some cool things. I mean, they had Spanford inside, Princeton Fant outside, out breaking route, just from Fant, and then just a little hitch by Spanford, good chunk yardage, safe, reliable target.
Yeah.
I like when my blocking tight ends give you a reliable option in the pass game. And that's exactly what he showed, in my opinion, in the game.
Could I dare say that Hendershot's on the outside looking in now?
I thought that.
I think he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Right. He might be a little bit further outside.
I thought
now.
Mr. Stephen Jones almost took his job last year.
Hey, he was on his way, but the ACL got in the way. There are a lot of guys that's on this team that's fighting for spots. That's really like we can literally look at them and say they can probably be on another team's roster. Not to switch over to wide receivers.
Yeah.
There's a guy named David Durden.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, coming off of an ACL, he's quick, he's elusive, he's on special teams.
Return man.
Yeah, he can do it. I think he's a 4-3 guy too, or 4-4, something like that. And he's a bigger target, and
he got that length too.
Hey, he do have pre-pause if necessary. He do have the length that you would think that this would benefit the quarterbacks. So when you look at the smaller versions of the guys like the Burnetts of the world, number 6, I think that you can sacrifice that and say give Durden more of a shot at this at the wide receiver room. Tyron Billy Johnson.
Yep.
we need to see him a little bit more for him in this Raiders game.
Yeah.
And of course, the continuity of Jalen Cropper.
You know,
we need to see
the
that.
problem with
Yeah.
some of these guys kind of emerging as potential dudes, though.
Yeah.
You give one of them a roster spot, one of your draft picks that you love so much, they're not gonna make this team.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like
Yeah.
that. That's why I didn't like that they put the pillows out and said, "Hey, Jalen Tolbert, just take a nap." I think that Jalen Tolbert should have been out there week 1. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's one of the things that
Yes and no. Yes and no. Oh, go ahead. You further.
I think that's one of the things that we say as fans because we need to see more. But it's one of the situations where at this point, with someone who's been around for so long, if the coaches don't need to see more, I'm good. Because it's not like the receivers who are out there were getting the best looks anyway, if we're being real. So I'm like, fine, whatever.
I feel like I go one of two ways on that. One, after what just happened in the playoff game, I think you take a good long look at all your guys.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I also completely agree. If the coaches feel they got a good thumb on it, then hey,
I
man,
don't care.
Who am I?
I don't
Yeah.
care because I'm looking at week 1. You got Denzel Ward. You got Emerson.
It's a good
You got
defense.
Greg Newsom. You got my guy that's going to be Grant Delpit, and
Top
as
three
well
defense,
as
probably.
Juan Thornhill. You got one of man. I love DBs. I love secondary, and the Browns. They got some dogs out
they
there,
do.
and Tolbert needs everything because see, we seen this before last season with Tolbert. And we got the lights turned on, and I'm sitting there like, hey, you got to make those contested catches. It's not like, ladies and gentlemen, Tolbert is light years ahead of Brooks, nor T. Billy, and Jalen Cropper to a degree.
Right.
He had a great camp, right? Him and Cooks, they were having a great camp, but it's not like he's making this crazy separation from those other boys.
Brooks had himself
fair.
a good game too.
Yeah.
Also,
Why? Because he was on the field.
yeah.
Correct, though.
But here's another argument too. All right, you still have that uncertainty when CD is coming back. We don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah.
Do you risk an injury? You're already thin at that position. You know, you don't have a lot of experience. Rather, you don't have a lot of experience at that position.
Right.
You think Tauber is going to contribute this year? Do we want to risk him going out there for this game that's really kind of meaningless?
That could be another reason why they didn't have him out there.
Why would you put him out there?
Who won the Super Bowl last year?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I had to think
I
of the first
saw Pat Mahomes out there preseason, so I don't give a dog who we have, and we talking about risking injury. I'm seeing Pat Money Mahomes out there throwing balls in preseason. I think that we shouldn't use the Browns as a preseason game. I think that we should be already getting these boys well oiled up to be ready
that's
to
not
go.
Well, I'm
Pretend
just
like
saying
it.
for this first game. I'm just saying for this first
I
game.
feel what you're saying, though.
Later in preseason, yeah, okay, let's see. We're getting closer here. Let's
Yeah.
see what we got here. Do you know?
Facts.
You
I
know,
mean, we do have 2 more games. They might
We
put
do.
him out there.
Oh, they need to be out here.
Maybe give Cooper Rush some more snaps. So
well, for
that he
guys
can-
like Jalen Tolbert, I feel like he only has one more game because that last game is gonna be all the guys that's trying to find a spot somewhere on another team
I'm
in
going
this
to
league.
that one. I'm looking
Or
at
practice squad, which we may be announcing something we may be doing for that game. Y'all stay tuned for those details.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But that last game are those guys that are fighting for somewhere in this league in that game. This game, I want to see something. I want to see a lot of their starters for a little bit. That's what I'm hoping to see.
I agree with you. I think there's going to be some dudes that get waived in the hope of bringing them back to the practice squad.
Right.
They're not going to make it.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, here's a guy out there. I think for me, he's on a bubble. Eric Scott Jr.
Yeah.
I think he's on a bubble just because your top 4 corners are already in place between
It's the depth.
Diggs,
Yeah.
Bland, J. Lou, Carson. He's already made it. You just traded for a guy in Andrew Booth,
Yeah.
so we don't know what he's going to be able to give you.
Clemson.
Yes.
That's why I think Eric Scott, one of those guys, he was drafted for a different regime. He may not make the roster. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm just saying
Right.
there's a possibility he may not make it.
Could-
you know,
could.
he could be on a bubble.
I think if it weren't for the lack of true depth there,
Yeah.
Right.
his seat would definitely be hot.
Yeah.
But you might be right already.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll dive into this offensive line, and then we're gonna wrap up. And then again, I want my guy Ben to talk about that charity again one more time before we leave. All right. So let's talk about this offensive line. All right. We got Chuma Edoga. He got hurt. He's going to be out, missing some time. So that means our guy Tyler Guyton is his. It's his job.
Right.
It's his job to lose, all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this game, he played, 21 snaps he played, okay? 13 of those snaps were pass block snaps. I don't think he got beat once.
No, man.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about Tyler Guyton in Pass Pro is that he's got just this natural ability. I mean, he's so big and so quick for that size. He's quick in general.
Right.
But he's got this awesome ability to recover. He's got this jump set that will just erase, those margins that are typically enough to beat an NFL tackle. And I didn't think we were going to see it right away, but credit to him, man, because he went straight to work, and he's really shown you why he was worth a first-round draft pick, in my opinion.
And it honestly didn't shock me. Want to know why? Because the recent history of drafting offensive linemen in the first round.
Facts.
It's just like, when they draft the offensive lineman in the first round, now I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going to take your word for it.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, he was a guy that I was like, I just knew they were going to take him, but I was like, there's other people I'd rather invest in round one because of how much development I felt like he needed at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That boy's work ethic said, nah, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Hold this.
Hold my beer. The Cowboys, if anything, they won by trading back or what have you and double dipping with the offensive line in general to fast forward to Cooper Beebe. But when you mentioned Tyler Guyton, his quickness and his ability, it's just crazy because he used to be a tight end and he's just so super athletic out there on the edge. Basketball player, and his skill set as far as his speed on the edge there is going to pay dividends for this particular team. So I'm hearing that from PFF that he was graded the highest amongst all of the
Rookies.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So
sometimes you like it and sometimes
hey.
Oh, now you want to like us.
Oh yeah, I'll take all of the good. I'll take all of the good with that because a lot of people poo-pooed on the pick because we were looking at it from a different perspective. But now when you see what the Jones family been doing with those offensive linemen in the first round, hey, have at it. Next season, go again. Go again at that spot because we may not have Zach Martin, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I don't want to talk about that yet. Lord Jesus, I'm not ready for that right now.
Hey, edit that out.
I expected Guyton to get the job anyway, so it's like the end result doesn't shock me.
Well,
I feel bad for Edoga.
Right.
Shouts
but
out to them for doing the whole rookie, all-pro steal thing on the offensive line with the ones this week. They got Guyton and BB with the ones this week, so it's looking like what everybody wants.
And let's
true.
Let's segue into that talking about BB. Let's talk about that whole center competition.
She was going to touch on guys
Oh,
right
I'm
quick.
so sorry. I apologize. Forgive me.
I mean, that was pretty much what I was gonna say. Y'all touched on everything else. Like I'm one of the people who's excited about Guyton from jump, but once again, that's because of my tendency to look at players from a holistic perspective. So when people were like, "Well, his footwork is this and that," I was like, "Yeah, but he used to be a basketball player." And honestly, like footwork is one of those things that's relatively easy to fix if you're willing to work at it. So like, I wasn't really concerned about that. So I'm excited about it.
Plus, he worked with Duke, right? He worked with Duke all summer, so anybody Duke gets his hold of, they start doing better. So let's talk about this battle we have at the center position. Brock Hoffman started the game. He's been running with the ones, but then I said, Cooper Beebe, he didn't earn his shot to get those reps with the ones, all right? So PFF, again, you guys graded Brock Hoffman a 50 in that game. I can't remember what Cooper Beebe's grade was, but in that game,
in the 70s. Hoffman. I think there's just some natural power, kick-ass ability, if you will.
Right.
You know, as far as establishing the push, getting the head across, turning inside out, maybe getting pushed back a little bit in the pocket. Just maybe a little bit more of all that or less than all that than what we all hoped we might see. And which is unfortunate, man, because I know he also went to work with Duke, and I know he's worked his tail off.
Correct.
I mean, he's smart. He knows what he needs to do, and all those things. But, at the end of the day, you're going to put the dog in there probably, right?
Yeah.
Which BB showed.
There's an old saying, if it's equal, play the younger guy, right? Sure. And I think that what Brock Hoffman is for this team. He's the ultimate tour guide, right? He knows the building, he knows the framework, he can tell you where to be at and these sorts of things. But Brock Hoffman, to be compared to Cooper Beebe, we know that dog nasty mentality, that once he get that snap, that shotgun snap under control,
Right.
it was over. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that he had over him. Experiences and the snap.
Well,
and that's catching up.
That plus, snap placement's important, but
Facts.
transition to block phase is a whole nother
Yes.
technique thing that he's still having to get comfortable with. I mean, he's an All-American guard.
Yeah.
And he looks great at guard when he's out there doing that.
I was about to
But
say
this is
that, yeah.
This is a whole new deal for him, man. So at the end of the day, time, experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's one of the overlooked aspects of BB's career. A lot of people talk about the fact that he can play any position on the O-line, but he only ever did center in practices. Mm-hmm. So like what you were saying, the transition into the blocking phase is something that he's going to have to, I won't even say better. He's just got to get faster at it. He's got to be a little bit smoother. But it's another one of those things that will come with reps. It'll come with time. One thing that I always say about the guys in the trenches is that, like, for everybody else on the field, football is a contact sport. For the guys in the trenches, football is a combat sport. Right? So you have to have a certain mentality in order to be prepared for an actual fight. Like, these guys are in contact with each other more than anybody else on the field is even allowed to touch each other, So there's a certain mentality that you have to have in order to approach every single snap like an actual fight. And that can be one of the hardest things to train. You can train technique, you can help with timing, you can help with agility, mobility, body position, all of that stuff. But that mentality that prepares you to literally fight the men across from you, snap in and snap out, that is so much more difficult to train, and BB already has it. So I think once he gains more experience and he gets more comfortable doing that in an actual game scenario, it's going to be game over. It'll be his job to lose.
And just remember real quick, too, this guy's an academic All-American as well.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
Exactly.
Put it in front of him, he'll learn it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just give him the
indeed.
time.
Yeah.
And just to put a cherry on this, that's why I wanted him week 1, week 2, week 3, because I want him to be battle tested and ready when the postseason get here.
Yeah.
I'm foreseeing this team to be a postseason team. I
Me
don't
too.
want to throw him
Same.
out there and still learning and getting those reps on the back end. I wanted him to get those things on the front end. So when we be in the postseason, it won't be a shock value for him.
Yeah. Because what he did, he had 42 reps at center, maybe about like 13 or 15 reps at left guard. You still see, like, he's got natural at left guard, but he just, he's maybe questioning himself on it a little bit. He's still adjusting, but overall, I think that cat's going to be, honestly, I think he's one of the steals of the draft.
Yeah.
To get him where we got him in the draft, like, man.
I literally said that in an article.
Yeah.
Cooper BB is an example of how sometimes the length of the period leading up to the draft can lead people to overanalyze, because there was so much talk about his arms are too short. And it's like, now you look back on that and it's like, really? Is that what people were getting hung up on?
That's what cost TJ Bass last year, really. I think that was the main knock on TJ Bass coming out of the draft last year. Well, he didn't draft it, but being undrafted because they said his arms were too short. So,
Short arms.
Short arms, yeah.
Before we go into anything else, he's going to be wedged in between two All-Pros,
Yes.
right? Zach Martin to his right, Tyler Smith to his left. So it's a perfect storm for him when he makes this team as a center and he don't have to overanalyze or do anything. And just to touch on these short arm things, I hate that, because that's the reason why we didn't go get T.J. Watt many a moons ago.
Yeah.
We picked Taco Charlton because he had to holler some arms or what have you.
We're going to move on right
Give
now.
me T.J.
No more
Watt.
Taco.
Come on.
But
Yeah.
could that be the reason why the Cowboys didn't invest heavy running back? Because, we got these three hosses. They're going to be in the middle of our offensive line. Maybe run production will be better just because of the production on the offensive line.
I don't know if they were thinking about run production, but just the way this offense runs and the importance of the offensive line, whether it's running, passing, protecting Dak, whatever. I could see them considering that to be a higher priority than getting a top tier running back. Because like even now, like if I were to say like describe our run game, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of what, like, you know how you said you think you'll see more power runs. Okay, cool. But we really don't know.
Yeah.
But we do know what we need from the O-line. So they were like, all right, let's address what we know we need. And if we can do some things in the running game, cool. But we know we need to do something about this O-line.
Got you. Well, this has been this week's episode of Crosstalk. But before we leave, remind y'all to tune in. These are going to be dropping every week now once football season starts. Every week you're going to see these different content creators, PFF guys and analytic guys swapping in and out. So make sure you tune into these episodes. Also, stay tuned for some information about this upcoming Cowboy season. Maybe you can come watch the game with us somewhere. I don't know, live broadcast.
Who knows?
Some parties. I don't know. We'll let you know about that. Also, let's talk about this charity real quick one more time because I feel like that's something important to talk about.
Absolutely, man. People that give back to the community, we're just trying to help them do it. CassiesPlaceRescue.com/donate. $10 for a ticket. Really cool prizes. Really valuable prizes. And just a good cause. So do something good today.
Yes, indeed.
Donate.
$10 is the value of it. What you're giving is something remarkable because with $10 you get a chance of an opportunity to get 30-yard line.
Yeah,
Man,
30
and there's not a bad seat
club
technically.
level, y'all. I mean, you gotta show your
Cowboys
ticket
land.
twice.
Yeah,
One to get in the building, and then another to get to the seats.
or even a cool helmet, man. Not to just talk about value, but it's salute to services, man. And the Cowboys normally don't generate and produce that helmet, but the value is north of $380. Just putting that out there. So with $10, you get a possibility to getting something like that. That's remarkable.
And on a personal level, Law, I just really appreciate you for contributing to the cause. That's awesome. I know they appreciate it, so thank you for that. Thank you for helping promote it, Jazz. We haven't had the chance. I think you actually shared it last night, so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for
Let's
all
get
sorts
it.
of trips.
Speaking of promoting it, you have until August 28th, by the way. That's why we keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
That's
Time
right
is
around the
running out.
Hurry up about it right now. Ben, start with you, then everyone work their around. Shout out all your social medias where you want people to find you, some of your work, your articles. Shout all those places out for us.
So Cowboys Wire, you can find my draft stuff there. Other than that, I talk a lot of football on the old X app. Larimore, that's LARIMORE _Ben. Man, I reply to you guys too.
Yeah.
I like to have fun. You guys make it a lot more fun for me to do that. So that's where you can find me.
You can find me usually on Twitter and occasionally on YouTube. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say my Twitter on here, so I'll say
Go ahead.
you can find me by searching for Bitches Love Sports. You can go to bitcheslovesports.com or blspodcast.com and find links to everywhere where I post anything. I do write occasionally, but these days it's mostly video. So yeah.
Yeah. And remember, bitches do love sports, so I do like it. But you can find me at Law Nation Sports. And what's going on? Hey, that's right, Ben. I'm not lying. They do love sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In my experience.
Yeah. Hey, Oh, man. He said, there goes everything. But Law Nation Sports on all platforms. Look that up. You will see my face, name, and logo. And shout out to 97.9 The Beat. We also there. DC for life. Let's get it.
Nice.
And you know me, it's your boy Ray, the host with the most. You can check me out on Instagram, Rays _podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Rays Podcast, RayRaysPodcast.com.
Yeah.
Look all that up. You can find all these amazing videos, other episodes of regular Rays Podcast, Crosstalk, or our very most controversial episode we had to start off the beginning of the year. You can go back and watch that thing because I still get comments about that. So
Which part?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Shout out to my guy Jesse Holly though.
Shout out Jesse Holly.
Oh, that one.
That was that, dude.
That was him. That wasn't me. That was him. You know, you hear that, Mama Parsons?
Hey,
He's the guy. You hear that? It's him. It's him. I know just playing.
Thank you. Today's episode. But thank you. We're looking forward to next week's crosstalk. It's your boy Ray, Law Nation, Jazz Monet, BL.
Go ahead, say it.
Bitches love sports. They love sports. Goddamn.
Love it.
And my guy being PFF, USA Today, Cowboys Wire. This has been another crosstalk, and we gonna catch y'all next time. We out of here.
Yo.
Gotta sample that for my new intro.
Hey, get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink, ho, let's get right. Getting paid.